Yeah, I got to see all the amazing parts of the U.S. and it's when you drive through the U.S., you feel more, you understand more how much communist Canada is. And I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. Like you go through some small town and they have like industry. I don't know. They got lumber, manufacturing, coal. You go
Hmm.
through a hardware store and it's fully stacked. There's commerce. There's things moving. In Canada, it's like the Soviet Union. And I used to work in a post-Soviet republic. There's this scarcity in Canada.
Yeah, I noticed especially during COVID. So when with me trucking, it was it was actually, so you'd have to go down, and we had to have our, like, I think I still have my health card from the CDC when I had to go down there during COVID. Um it was actually free. Like the border guards, they're like, yeah, we don't really give a shit about COVID. Like, we really don't care.
No,
you
they
know
absolutely don't. I remember I was crossing the border and with my two dogs. And I was like, "Sir, I have all the vaccination records for the dogs." He's like, "I don't care about any of that. I just want to make sure that you're going to leave the country."
That's I don't I have you like, I haven't crossed the border in since basically the end of 2023, and I never had any issues with, like, border guards, never. In fact, I was crossing at Pembina, so from, like, Manitoba into North Dakota, and I sat there with the border guard and I talked to him for, like, 45 minutes. We just talked. Like, I'm literally in my semi talking to the guy, and yeah, he was telling me that, he used to patrol the southern border, and like, "Was it actually that bad?" He's like, "It's a shit show. It's being up here, it's awesome. I don't have to deal with with escapees. I don't have to deal with illegals. Like, it's like, this is awesome." But I guess, they're pretty chill when you cross, right?
Well, it depends. Like when you're crossing into the U.S., they're very professional, but they can be harsh. They're the only thing they're concerned about, I suppose, drugs, but that's
Mhm.
very easy to you just look at the guy's car. What they're concerned about is that you're not going to stay in the country. You're not a risk to
Really?
their national security, so that's where the level of questioning is. And some of the agents are uh, more friendly, some of them are more rough. But when you're coming back, the Canadian border, the CBSA agents are just horrible. It's like they went to a local ghetto and they just got the most uneducated people and they brought him in there and they gave him authority. And I was at the CBSA station just by the Vancouver border, and they almost threw me in jail. Like one of the guy accused me of stealing money from the Canadian government, and some lady in the back called me out. She's like, "Oh, he's clearly a liar," and I'm getting attacked from like different sides. Like it's completely
No.
unprofessional.
Is that the one where you cross at Surrey?
Yeah, it's not Peace Arch. It's the one next to Peace Arch. I can't remember what it's called.
I can't. Yeah, I've crossed through that port quite a few times, but yeah, it was always, the US side, and the guys are, I don't know, they've always been, I've had no complaints. Like, I can't think of one bad interaction I've had. It's like, cross the border. Actually, there's one time this lady. So when we cross over, yeah, Abbotsford to Blaine, yeah, Blaine, Washington. Um, so when a semi goes through, we get X-rayed, and then if there's an irregularity, they'll send you in for second screening, and then if that detects something, that's when they start, ripping stuff apart. But when I pulled up, so I went through the first X-ray machine, and I pull up to the window, and the lady's like, How are you today, Tyler?" I said, "How do you know my name?" She goes, "We know everything."
Typical Americans, yeah. Like
Yeah.
we drove down once. We're going to Bellingham to fly down to Vegas, and the guy's like, "All right, who's getting married? Who's the bachelor?" We're like, "How'd you know?" He's like, I trust me, bro. I do this for a living."
And so for anyone in the audience that doesn't know, Peyman was a candidate for the PPC up in Canada, so we got Canadian royalty here. So you guys better be on your best behavior.
I'm like the
So,
Prince Albert of royalty over here. I didn't get it.
oh no. Yeah, so no, I've one thing I noticed when I every time coming back to Canada, it was a nightmare, and I very much felt that. All right, we're back behind the Iron Curtain every single time. Oh, it was so like in the States, they didn't care about wearing a mask. Like it was actually freeing. It was actually freeing not having to wear a stupid mask so that I could go get a coffee or something, or that I couldn't go into a restaurant to go take a piss. Like it was insane. And down there, they're like, it you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know that there was a world-ending pandemic happening everywhere. Almost like it wasn't.
You know, I used to do taekwondo when I was a kid, and we'd cross over to the U.S. to go do some tournaments, and it felt safer in Canada than the U.S. Like the joke was the high school vending machines, they had the metal over them because they're violent people stealing everything. So you come back and you feel safe. And now, statistically, like we have more violent and nonviolent crime per capita in Canada than the U.S. And sort of that appeal of Canada is evaporated, and now we don't really have we don't have an argument to make that we're better than the U.S.
No. No, I don't think we do anymore. I really don't, and that sucks, and we see the brain drain that's going on, and, it's almost like they want the smart ones to leave so that they could just replace you with someone that's cheap and doesn't really understand our laws, our culture, our customs, and then they can go, "Look, we just make sweeping changes in legislation," then they go, "Okay, I guess." Like, that's how Canada functions? Okay. Like, it's, we see a lot of people are leaving. I know a lot of doctors that have left, a lot of professionals that have gone to the United States because Canada's just become a joke. Just become a
You
joke.
got to remember, I'm an Iranian, so I've done this once before. We fled Iran after the revolution, and
Mhm.
past a certain point, nobody blames you for running away. They applaud you. They say you got out at the right time. And if you watch today, Viva Fry, he did a podcast with Alex Jones. Did you watch that?
No, I got a bit into a bit of a tiff with Viva.
Oh, did you? Okay, that's fine. Putting him aside personally, he said what they're doing is they're basically trying to get people to leave the country. Hey, Kim,
Well,
Hi,
yeah,
nice to see your face.
it's been a minute.
It has been a minute.
I know Payman's off changing the world with Chris and, John. It's John, right? John. Yeah.
JP,
Yeah, JP.
Love it.
Yeah, they're out there changing in the world over there. Oh, that's awesome to see and love it. But no, it
Sorry.
wasn't like it wasn't like I was like me and Viva were exchanging like bad blood or whatever. It was just like a difference in opinion with regards to the ostrich farm, and I agree with him. I agree with if that's the statement that he made. 100% agree with him. I see it. I see it happening everywhere. The intellectuals are leaving, and in fact, I think it's still on our X account that I said the brain drain will continue until prosperity, or the brain drain will continue until government changes or something like that. And we very much see it. We're contemplating the same thing, and I hate having to admit it.
well, it's getting really bad. I shared a post. Somebody put a post there like if you could leave Canada, would you? And the majority of the comments were yes, but they were yes in the context of, I fought for 4 years during COVID, and I go out there and there's too many liberals arguing against me. There's too many left of center people who are welcoming this. It's not just that you're fighting an outside force. It's not like the Mongols that are invading and crushing us. You're fighting your own fellow people,
Yeah.
and at some point you're like there's no way out of this.
The way I look at it, so I used to make the distinction between government and the people. and our laws are the culmination of our morality. And if that is what Canada's morality is, that's not mine. Not even close. So if that is where Canada's moral compass lies, I either have to do something to change it. And that's why I look up to people like you, like Viva, that actually said, you know what? Before, I'm not saying you're doing that, but I know Viva was saying, you know, I have to give it my all before I have to leave. I have to make at least that attempt to try and change the country. I have to put one last fight in. So I don't blame people that go, you know what? I fought. In fact, I willingly I put my name out there, scrutinized, attacked, and had my character absolutely destroyed just to try and change a country that I think is going the wrong way. So I hold people like you and anyone that's willing to actually do that. I hold you guys in high regard because I'm sure it's not fun. It's not fun having every single aspect of your life just being, put under a microscope. And I don't know. I don't want to like doom pill and like, yeah, Canada's screwed, but man, that mountain that we have to climb is
On that one.
it's a big one. It's a big one.
It's
So,
it's worse than the way you're describing it, because it's a money issue. Like the majority of the people that vote for the status quo, they're in the urban centers, and the ones that own land, um, they're happy to go along with this inflationary cycle because it increases their asset values. As long as the housing market doesn't collapse, they're they don't see anything wrong with this. And I saw this during the election period, and it was very difficult for me to not get depressed, because you meet anybody from like 50 up until 85, 90, like the boomer generation. They have this mentality: don't rock the boat. Canada's
mhm.
always been a two-party system. It should stay that way. And they think that the Liberal Party and the Conservative Party, as long as they wear suits and ties, they are a moral movement for positivity and good in Canada, and we shouldn't upset that with something like a People's Party, somebody like Tyler who's got a beard and swears once in a while. Like, how dare we let these people affect the change, the direction of our country?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Well, I think that's
no, go ahead.
the thing too, is in our parents' generation, the quote unquote liberals or the NDP, depending on whatever it was that they voted for, wherever it is that they live, it has changed so much since then, and they still hold on to what it was back in the day, and they still think that that is how it is still today. And it's like they can't see past that, nor I don't know, just can't understand the fact of how much it has changed and how corrupt it has gotten.
Have you seen this movie? I'm so old. I need glasses to read that. Have you seen this movie, Blast from the Past, with Christopher Walken?
Blast from the
I have,
past.
but it's been a minute. It has been a
It's.
minute.
I'm hoping I don't have the name wrong, but basically, Christopher Walken, he assumes that the Soviets have attacked the country. He's created a bunker, and he moves his
Yes.
family underground for something like 20 years for the fallout
Oh,
to go away.
yeah, with
It has.
Brendan Fraser.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and
Mhm.
and turns out there was no attack, like some airplane just happened to crash in his backyard. But like he couldn't bring himself to acknowledge that the moral of the story, that he basically robbed his family of 20 years of their life. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's like with boomers. They refuse to acknowledge that they are the ones, and I'm not, my parents are boomers, but they refuse to acknowledge that they're the ones that caused this system, and they're handing over this turd of an economy to the youth, but they still want their pensions. And it's causing a massive conflict.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had posted a poll on our X account, and it was directed to the boomer generation. If you would give up your CPP and that meant that your grandchildren would have opportunities, I can't remember how I worded it, but it was something to that effect. Would you give up your CPP if it knew that your grandchildren would have opportunities? Overwhelming majority said no.
I think
Overwhelming majority.
I think it's hard because, like, when you think about it, like, say you've worked your butt off your entire life and you just want to finally relax and rest. And then to like the thought of giving that up and you having to work to the day that you die to give it to somebody else, I could understand where the hesitation would come in because I'm sure they're tired. I'm sure they're tired. They busted their butt off. So it's a really hard decision. I feel that would be just
What are you
saying.
drinking there?
Kilkenny.
Right, because his wife is awesome.
She is. She is. Just don't tell her.
Yeah. Don't tell me. It'll get to my head.
Well,